Once again, tensions between China and Taiwan have escalated to a critical point, as China recently concluded its military exercises targeting Taiwan. The drills lasted for 3 days, during which China encircled the island, simulated missile attacks on cities, and practiced ship-launched strikes from the east. The Chinese People's Liberation Army, PLA, claimed that the combat readiness drills had comprehensively tested the troops under actual combat conditions. Taiwan's defense ministry has closely monitored the PLA's activities during the exercises, and on the final day, more than 100 PLA warplanes and ships were detected near Taiwan. Beijing launched the exercises in response to Taiwan's president, Tsai Ing-wen, meeting with the U.S. House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, in Los Angeles. Tsai has condemned the military exercises, stating that they cause instability in Taiwan and across the region and are not the actions of a responsible major country. Nevertheless, China has described them as a serious warning against the Taiwan separatist forces' collusion with external forces, and a necessary move to defend national sovereignty and territorial integrity. Observers have noted that while the recent drills did not match the scale of those launched in retaliation to a Taipei visit by McCarthy's predecessor, Nancy Pelosi, which included missile launches, they did appear to show an escalation in the Chinese military's training for strikes on Taiwan. In response to China's aggression, Taiwan's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Joseph Wu, has stated that China cannot dictate how Taiwan makes friends or how its friends choose to show support. The situation remains tense, with both sides on high alert, and the world watching with a sense of urgency as the potential for conflict continues to grow. Is there a reason for China's aggressive actions towards Taiwan? The separation of Taiwan and China after a civil war was 7 decades ago, and despite Taiwan's transition to democracy in the 1990s, China's ruling Communist Party still sees the self-governing island as part of its territory. And now, Chinese leader Xi Jinping's recent actions have made it clear that he is determined to reunify with Taiwan, even by force. But what's truly alarming is Xi's latest order to the People's Liberation Army to focus all its energy on fighting and prepare for war. This call to arms was accompanied by images of Xi in his army uniform visiting a command center, signaling his intent to take aggressive action against Taiwan. Xi has warned of dangerous storms on the horizon and urged the army to comprehensively strengthen military training to improve their capability to win. He also emphasized the need to resolutely defend national sovereignty and national security as China faces an unstable and uncertain security situation. While Xi has previously ordered the army to prepare for war, his current tone is more urgent than ever before. This should be a wake-up call for everyone who values peace and stability in the region. It seems China's attack on Taiwan is no longer a distant possibility but an imminent threat. And not only has she sent a message to the Chinese military, but also to Taiwan and the United States. The world watches on as tensions between China and the US reach boiling point over Taiwan. Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, has made it abundantly clear that he sees seizing Taiwan as a key part of his legacy, using increasingly aggressive language to urge his cadres to dare to struggle and boost their fighting spirit to defend national interests in a hostile political environment. In his opening speech at the party congress, he used the word "dojing" struggle 17 times, and the word "for" security about 50 times, showing a clear sense of urgency and determination. However, foreign interference has been blamed for exacerbating tensions, with Xi taking a veiled swipe at the US's increasingly explicit support for Taipei during the 20th Party Congress in Beijing. While President Joe Biden has stated that the US would defend the island militarily if China were to attack, China's military remains the largest in the world, with over 2 million personnel. In contrast, the US has only around 1.4 million. This has not deterred China from preparing for war, with their defense budget increasing to 1.55 trillion renminbi, $224.8 billion, in March 2023, marking a nominal 7.2% increase from the 2022 budget of 1.45 trillion renminbi, $229.6 billion. Meanwhile, the US remains obligated to provide Taiwan with defensive weaponry through the Taiwan Relations Act, but officials are vague on whether the US would defend Taiwan in the event of an attempted Chinese attack. The situation has been further complicated by the UK's Trade Minister Greg Hand's visit to Taiwan, which drew criticism from a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson, who urged the British government to cease sending wrong signals to separatist forces for Taiwan independence. This highlights the global significance of the issue, with other countries being pulled into the conflict and potentially adding fuel to the fire. The urgency of the situation cannot be overstated, with China's determination to seize Taiwan and the US's commitment to defend it set to collide. Joseph Wu, Taiwan's foreign minister, emphasized that defending Taiwan is our own responsibility, but the United States remains a crucial ally in the region. As tensions continue to escalate, the world waits with bated breath to see what the future holds for Taiwan and its place in the geopolitical landscape. Taiwan is facing an unprecedented threat from China, with the People's Liberation Army, PLA, flexing its military muscles and increasing its presence around the island. The situation is becoming more dire by the day, and though Taiwan is trying its best to present an unbothered stance in the face of this aggression, its repeated reminders to the United States of their legal obligations, and to other international powers for protection speaks otherwise. Not only has the Chinese military grown rapidly in recent years, it has expanded to such a size that it now boasts a force almost equal to a tenth of Taiwan's entire population. This means that there is now roughly one trained Chinese soldier, armed with a deadly weapon, for every 10 to 12 Taiwanese citizens. This is an alarming statistic, and it highlights the very real danger that Taiwan is facing in the event of an invasion. Taiwan and China are both aware of the statistics, and while China is operating from a place of assured strength, while Taiwan's responses show strength, they also have a hint of panic in them. Recently, J-15s, which are known to be launched from two PLA aircraft carriers, including the Shandong, have been spotted inside Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, ADIZ, for the first time. While Japan has confirmed that it responded to some of the launches by scrambling jets, Taiwan's Defense Ministry detected 91 PLA aircraft and 12 ships inside its ADIZ. This marks a significant escalation in the PLA's operations around Taiwan. The launch of J-15 suggests that the PLA is practicing encirclement-style strikes on Taiwan. This is an extremely worrying development, as it indicates that China is preparing for an all-out assault on the island. After the drills, China's foreign ministry blamed tensions on Taiwan and unnamed foreign forces supporting it, and stated that Taiwan independence and cross-strait peace were mutually exclusive. This is a clear warning to Taiwan that their independence will be contested with force. The situation in Taiwan is reaching a critical juncture, and urgent action is needed to prevent an all-out conflict. Taiwan's defense ministry has been operating under a principle of not escalating conflicts or causing disputes. However, the recent drills, which include shore-based anti-ship missile vehicles and rapid deployment of missile speedboats, indicate that Taiwan is facing an existential threat that cannot be ignored any longer. The People's Liberation Army, PLA, has been simulating joint precision missile strikes on key targets in Taiwan, a development that is alarming and underscores the need for Taiwan to take immediate action to protect itself from Chinese aggression. China has made it clear that it will not tolerate any challenge on Taiwan, and any such provocations will always be met with a firm response. The international community has been closely watching the situation, and several nations are wondering if China is ready to annex Taiwan, similar to what Putin did in Ukraine. The question on everyone's mind is whether or not China's move will be successful, or will it turn out the same way as Russia's play for Ukraine. During a visit to China, the French President, Emmanuel Macron, said that Europe had no interest in an acceleration of the crisis over Taiwan and should pursue a strategy independent of both Washington and Beijing. However, the urgency of the situation cannot be ignored, and immediate action is needed to prevent a potential conflict that could have catastrophic consequences for the region and the world. In the face of this aggression, Taiwan cannot afford to remain complacent. It must take urgent action to defend itself and prevent an all-out conflict with China. The world must also take notice of this situation and take action to prevent a potential conflict that could have catastrophic consequences for the region and the world. The situation is becoming increasingly dire, and the clock is ticking. Every passing moment brings us closer to a potential conflict that could have disastrous consequences. It is imperative that Taiwan takes immediate action to protect itself, and the international community must step up to prevent a conflict that could threaten regional stability and global peace. The stakes are high, and the urgency of the situation cannot be overstated. We must act now to prevent a potential catastrophe that could affect the lives of millions of people. The world cannot afford to sit idly by and watch as tensions escalate between China and Taiwan. It's time to take action and prevent a potential conflict before we have another Russia versus Ukraine on our hands. Speaking of, it seems Ukraine's victory is imminent and all they have to do is hold on. How? Watch this video to find out.